We are back. Beat the Line broadcast, episode 58. It's 2025. We've been out without fights for 3 weeks, and now we're live. I'm your host, Picks by Pegasus, here with Dravey, Key 3 Picks. You guys know the deal. We're about to break down UFC Vegas 101. Not the best card to come back to, but at least it's something to watch, right?
Yeah, shut up. It's a good card. And at least we have fights on. So we can be complaining first card of 2025. Peg. Come on, bro.
They should have started it with 311, but that's besides the point.
Nah. We don't care. Me and Key were real fan watching every fight, you know. You can know what we're talking about, but you know, we're not casual over here, so.
Yeah. All right, so I'm gonna repost the tweet right now. Let's get everyone live and in here. Let's see here. Retweet this. All right, and we'll get right into it. First fight of the night is going to be. Wait, what is this going on here? There we go. Okay. I think I just tweeted that out twice, whatever. First fight of the night, it's going to be Joe Solecki versus Nurullo Aliev. Let's see, got to do the share screen. Okay. It's going to be Joe Solecki versus Nurullo Aliev, whatever you want to call him. Joe Solecki, 13-5, Nurullo Aliev, 9-0. Joe Solecki, 31, 5'9", 70-inch reach. Aliev is 24, 5'10", 72-inch reach. Odds in these two gentlemen, you can get Aliev anywhere from minus 530 to minus 700. Solecki anywhere from plus 500 to plus 400. Drav, I'm going to have you go first. Aliev's first fight in the UFC was relatively underwhelming. This fight's now short notice. He was supposed to fight Yanal Ashmaz. Now he's fighting Joe Solecki. Joe Solecki's fighting for his life and his last fight on the contract. Odds are he loses here, he's probably cut. That being said, what do you think? Aliev wins by finish, or do you think Joe Solecki makes it last to go to the distance, or does he find a sub?
I don't really know. But I think the most obvious outcome is Aliev by decision. I really think that Solecki's sub or bust, and I think he needs to get a sub early, like some type of guillotine or something like that. But he's on like a week notice here, and Aliev wrestling is pretty legit. His ground and pound is good, but he doesn't really have good BJJ offensively. Like, he's not going to submit Solecki, obviously. And he's not the best finisher. So I guess he could finish as the fight goes on, maybe a TKO with ground and pound, because Solecki can get tired because of the short notice. But more than likely, I think Aliev just going to win a decision. I think the big price tag is justified, considering that Solecki, path to victory is guillotine probably early. And Aliev's on a full training camp, training with good guys at Cliff. But the guy had, I think it was a shoulder injury, surgery, and he was out for a year and a half, and now he's coming back after a big layoff. So that's something I don't really like at minus 600. But I think he should dominate, get the wrestling going, and win probably a decision here more than likely.
Okay. I agree with you. I think Aliev wins the decision. Obviously, if you watch back in the tape, you go back and look. I think probably the best level of competition or best fighter he had was that guy, Rafael Alves.
No doubt. Rafael Alves is a good fighter, I think. He's not in the UFC.
No, he is. Look what he's doing in karate combat, right? He's knocking everyone out, doing crazy stuff. But if you watch like the back takes and the guillotines from him in that fight that they had, you gotta think that Solecki's guillotine is probably better than that, right? So the potential's there for him to get stuck in it. Do I think he's going to? No, not really. And after that, it's just going to be a smashing. I don't really know how you can bet Aliev or Aliev at minus 600, but I mean,
he's minus 700 on bet online. I think like when he was minus 500, he was probably a decent parlay piece, but now it's just asking for a sub. He can put his head in a bad position, but at the end of the day,
perfect. It's gonna be perfect for the BTL parlay. I can't wait. Key, what do you think?
Yeah, I think that Aliev gets it done pretty dominantly. I see the 15 minutes of. I think it's pretty much going to be 15 minutes of wet blanket. Solecki's not going to. He might get up the first few times if he decides to, but he's pretty comfortable just trying to pull Gilly and play off of his back. Um, I this is a pass fight for me. I played Aliev takedowns on Prize Picks though, but outside of that, I have nothing.
It's not bad. All right. Next fight we got is his favorite fighter, Victoria Dudakova versus Fatima Kline. Victoria Dudakova is 8-1. She's 25-5-5 with a 67-inch reach. Fatima Kline is 6-1, 24-5-6 with a 67.5-inch reach. Odds on these two ladies, you can get Fatima Kline anywhere from a great discount of minus 735 to minus 925 for Kline and plus 650 to plus 540 for Dudakova. Key, your first women's MMA breakdown of the year. What do you think? Break this down for us.
Yeah, I think there's not much to break down here. Kline's a better fighter in standing and grappling. I think Dudakova has proven to be a little bit of what I thought she was coming into the UFC. I'm pissed that the one time I pass on Sam Hughes is the time that she gets beat. Jin Frey fought a good fight against her. And I think that Kline is going to wet blanket her if she chooses to. But I'm not sure if Kline finishes. She's not some crazy finisher. It's not like she's super dynamic on the mat, but she's just really good positionally. We know the work that she's getting in with Blanchfield. So she's definitely getting a lot of high level training. I was very high on her at UFC Denver, and that was just Jazz is just too big. And she's just a horse of a woman. So I think that she was just physically outmatched, but she even had some good moments in round 3, showed some good boxing. I wish she would have let her hands go a little bit more. But I think that Dudakova may look decent round 1, maybe even part of round 2. I think the Kline's going to grind her out. Round 2, round 3, I think that she completely takes over. But I'm not parlaying minus 900 in women's MMA. Like, that's just not happening. So it's a pass as of right now, but we'll see if there's some props and other cool ways to play her here.
Yeah, so you know me. I'm like what? I think 2024 I was 7 or 8-2 to the spread, betting spreads. I was looking to get a spread bet down on Dudakova just because like Fatima Kline, we bet her last fight. I think we all did against Jazz. She looked good. Oh, well, we did. The truthers, the Fatima truthers did. And she got a takedown. She didn't look bad for 5 days notice at elevation. But here against Dudakova can wrestle. Her striking didn't look half bad last fight, but it's definitely not where it needs to be to fight a girl like Fatima. I kind of was trying to find an angle where, Dudakova wins round 1 and then Fatima Kline takes over 2-3. I do think there's a world where Fatima Kline could submit Dudakova. I was watching her YouTube clips. I follow her on Instagram rather, and she's working a lot of leg locks, which is interesting because that's how you beat a girl with good wrestling or good wrestlers is with leg locks. So the fact that she's working that could be a little concerning. So she could find a finish late. But like Keith said, I don't think there's really a way to bet this fight. So I'm just going to probably pass here and we just get to take notes on both these girls. What do you think, Drav?
Yeah, I think Kline could potentially finish late. But I don't really mind your spread if you go that way at it is plus 300 on Bet Online. I think there's a decent chance that Dudakova win the first round. But I think Kline's kind of a cardio machine, to be honest. The pace she pushes and just her cardio in general, I think is very, very good. And Dudakova, I think her cardio is not great. I think she slowed down massively, especially in the 3rd round. So I think we see a fight close early in the 1st round. I think the striking is going to be a bit competitive, but I think Kline is just better. I think she's just more composed than Dudakova, and maybe Dudakova is going to try to wrestle, but Kline's a much better grappler. I think Kline could end up reversing the position, get on top, and her ground and pound is pretty good also. So I like Kline. I run back the tapes, and I was pretty impressed with her. I think her ceiling is higher than Dudakova. But to see a price like that on a girl that's 0-1 in the UFC is just, it's not really what I want to do. You know, minus 900 or something. It is a bit wide. I think she wins the fight, but I think she should be like, you know, -3, -400, something like that. I think the price is too wide. So I think if Dudakova's not getting finished, I think she might win a round. But there's also a good potential that she get finished later in the fight if she's getting tired and Kline, you know, just pushing a high pace. So to me, the fight's just a pass, but I think Kline win. Not sure if she does finish or not, though. I think it can be either way. Round 3 or decision maybe for Kline. I don't know what price it is, but I think it can be a good way to play her.
Gotcha. All right, next fight is Magomed Gadzhiyasulov versus Bruno Lopes. Gadzhiyasulov is 9-0. He's 31, 6'2", 75-inch reach. Bruno Lopes, 13-1, 31, 6'2", 74-inch reach. Odds in these two gentlemen, you can get Gadzhiyasulov anywhere from -210 to -210 to -250. Lopes is anywhere from +207 to +170. I'll take this one first, just because I'm hoping to. Actually, let's go through comments before we get through this. Champ said, you know, Fatima, Kline, Dudakova is bad, might smoke her, big levels difference. Kind of agree with that. Thank God fights are finally back. I agree. Other than that, that's what we have. Back to what we're saying. So I think this is a okay spot to bet Gadzhiyasulov in. Looking at it, right, I think Gadzhiyasulov is going to be the much faster striker. I think he's going to be the much cleaner striker. He circles out well. He has good body kicks, good leg kicks, throws good combos. His jab is fast. It's strong. It's right down the middle. And that's going to work against a guy in Bruno Lopes who his chin hasn't looked great. He's pretty slow. He throws looping punches, and a straight, fast jab is going to beat a looping punch every single time. That's kind of all Lopes has to offer, I think, on the feet from a power standpoint is his heavy overhands. Wrestling standpoint on the ground, Lopes is probably better at jiu-jitsu, but to get it there, he aims to do a lot of body lock takedowns, and that's not going to work against a guy like Gadzhiyasulov. So I don't think he really gets him down here. I don't think that it goes to the ground early. Magomed probably could find a KO. I think probably just outpaces him, outvolumes him, wins minutes over him. Anything that goes to the ground, his top time and top pressure is good there. I guess like the gas tank is a concern for Magomed. I'm not worried about it here personally, just because since when has Bruno Lopes been a pace fighter where he's going to push a pace on someone? He's not the type of guy to do that, I don't think, in my opinion. Bruno Lopes also is very hittable and just doesn't really move his head at all. So that's another positive why he probably will lose here to Magomed. But that's my take. I haven't bet -200 yet. I kind of wanted to find like a parlay, but we're going to just talk about this real quick. Gads is a fraud, but I don't necessarily disagree, but I don't think Lopes is the guy to fraud check him. If that makes sense. He fought the Bolivian cab driver for his Illinois Contender Series, and then he beat Brenson Ribeiro. Let's not forget, Lopes fought Brenson Ribeiro and got annihilated. So I don't know. That's my thoughts on it. I'd probably parlay Gads. I don't mind that -210, but if you want to play chalk, you can do that as well. What are you thinking, Key?
Yeah, Gads is a fraud, but Lopes stinks. One of the slowest guys I've had to watch on tape. It's sad where this division is going in general, but I think that Gads has the ability to dance around. He's going to have a pretty wide speed advantage, and I do think that he can get top time here, but it's just the cardio. I refuse to be laying -220 on somebody that I think has shit cardio. I think if Drab were to stand in front of Gads for 15 minutes, I think Gads is probably like huffing and puffing the last 2.5 minutes. Like, it's a rough go. So I think that this guy, whole community pretty much knows he's a fraud. Anybody who's high on Gads, potential disability there. So I think the Gads is probably going to eke out a decision here. Lopes is live to make it a fight, but his chin is so bad and he's constantly getting dropped. And he's just so slow. Like, I can't get over how slow he is. So for me, it's a pass. I wanted to get to a Lopes bet because I was so eager to fade Gads, but maybe next time. It's a pass as of right now for me, though.
Rob, how do you see this going?
Yeah, I mean, I played Ribeiro +350 the last time he fought, and he almost had him, a couple of times. It was a super close fight. And, the way I see this one playing out is, Peg, you said that Lopes doesn't really push pace, and you don't really see the cardio problem because of that. I mean, it's not that. It's just the guy's the gasser after 8-9 minutes. His cardio is not great. It's not because of the pace or anything. He's gonna slow down, and Lopes cardio is better. So just Tulio -2 XX, just feel bad because of that. And also, I don't rate his finishing ability at the UFC level, Magomed. I think he's a good striker, but I don't really think he has big power. His kicks are good. He's a decent mover, but like the guy slowed down. He's not really a good finisher, but Lopes is there to be cracked early. So, and I think Magomed's going to land down the middle with the straight shot. So I think Lopes, like you said, doesn't move his head. So that's a problem. But Magomed wrestling is pretty decent, but his top control and his BJJ is not that good. And Lopes BJJ, I think, is better. So I just think skill wise, they match up pretty closely. But I rate Magomed, all around a bit more. I think he has more paths to victory. And I think he's going to win a decision here personally. That's how I see it playing out. But I think it's probably going to be close. And the price is a bit wide probably. But it just feels like Lopes is going to be a value loser. That's how I see it. But, would I be surprised if Magomed just land a big shot and knock him out? No, but at the same time, like I said, I don't think the guy has much power, and I don't trust his cardio. So to be that type of price is a no for me. But I think at the end of the day, he wins a decision, and the decision prop is like +200. So I think that's a decent way to look at it.
Yeah, I don't mind that either. I mean, I think there could be a KO round one, but if he doesn't get it round one, it probably does go to a decision. And could be just a minute winner there too. So I don't hate that either. Next fight we have is Ernesta Kareckaite versus Nicolle Caliari. Ernesta is 5-1-1. She's 26, 5'9" with a 71-inch reach. Nicolle is 8-2, 28, 5'3", 62-inch reach. Right now, odds on these two women get Ernesta anywhere from -250 to -270. You can get Caliari anywhere from +230 to +210. Low-level girls fight. Caliari's hot. Take it away, Key.
This is a great fight. Well, an entertaining fight for me, I must say. I played Ernesta at -175 a few weeks back for 4 units. That sat for like an extra 2 days, like -190, -200 range. And I'm honestly surprised it took that long for it to blow out. Because I think that this is a mismatch, and not only physically, but just from a style matchup. I don't think that this is good for Caliari at all. I played Caliari on Dana White Contender Series against Corinne at +115, I believe. I posted that for free last Dana White Contender Series. And honestly, I didn't like that performance at all. I'm not sure if, and I'm genuinely like saying this in a dead serious way, like not a horny way. I'm not sure if she has fake breast or what, but the change from her in 2017 and some of her early film compared to now is just like completely different. It's obvious that she's packed on a lot of muscle, and her fluidity and her striking is completely gone. On Dana White Contender Series, it looked like she was like fighting out of a bag. The way that she was punching, everything was just so intense. And I don't think that she's going to be able to last for 15 minutes at a high pace. And that's what Ernesta pushes. I played Ernesta at +160 against Barbosa, and I would probably do that again, all over again. There's arguments that she won that fight. And I tend to lean on that side, but of course that's some betting bias. But Ernesta isn't the greatest in the world, but she throws and she fights. She's going to fight for 15 minutes. She has a strong background as a high-level swimmer, I believe. So I know that her cardio is going to come in right. She has a 6-inch height advantage here, 9-inch reach advantage. I mean, she's going to absolutely just like cook this girl, in my opinion. Caliari on the ground, I know everybody's talking about like Ernesta is like terrible on the mat. I don't believe that to be true at all. One, I think the Barbosa is a way, like 10 times better grappler than Caliari, like 10 times better grappler. And Caliari, I understand, has some arm bars and some trick bag finishes off of her back, But again, that's not stuff that I don't think is going to fly against Ernesta. I think that Ernesta will be able to get out of any sub attempts. And I really just don't see a clear path to victory for Caliari unless Ernesta just completely just fumbles this fight. I think that Ernesta is going to jab her up. I think she's going to have a shit ton of volume. I mean, we go back to that Judice fight. That's one of the best fights in Dana White Contender Series history on the women's side, for sure. And maybe regardless of gender. So I think that Ernesta is going to eat her up. Volume, I wouldn't be surprised to see a round 3 finish. I know Ernesta doesn't hit hard, but I think that Cagliari is going to have some suspect cardio. And I know she's coming out of that camp with Marina Rodriguez, but it just has not translated at all. So I think the Cagliari's going to end up seeing that she shouldn't be at this level. And I also don't believe that this is the correct weight class for her. I think that she's undersized. But again, that goes back to some of the added muscle that she's put on over the years. I just don't think that it makes sense for her. I think that she's a 115 girl. I think that she needs to drop some of the muscle. I think she needs to get back to her roots as a fluid kickboxer. So I think that Ernesta is going to swallow her. Pause.
Yes, definitely pause. What do you think they're going to release the spread price as for Ernesta? Because I very rarely play -3.5, and I was thinking about that earlier because usually they make that big plus odds. I think she kind of has this girl covered everywhere.
Yeah, potentially. I think that that's a decent look. Everybody's putting a lot of stock into Cagliari's grappling, not realizing that Cagliari makes, one, bad decisions, and two, it's not like she's actually a good wrestler. Barbosa actually had some decent wrestling, and Barbosa is actually strong, like a big girl for the weight class. Cagliari is not that at all.
-3.5 is +150 if you guys like that.
I do like that.
Yeah, that's not bad.
I'm just gonna wait till Bet Online. Bet Online usually gives you a better one. I'm sorry, DraftKings. Usually DraftKings give you a little better one. Probably give us like +175 around there, and I might play that. Pretty much agree with everything Keith said. I think Ernesta cooks this girl. Shouldn't be bad. This girl's gonna be on OnlyFans within 6 months. Goff, what do you think?
Yeah, I agree with Q pretty much. I don't have much else to add. The only thing I'll say is I think Ernesta takedown defense is not that good. And she's very hittable, so that's a concern on her side at a big price tag. And I don't really think there's value anymore on the line. Yeah, I know we're just picking winner over here, but keep play -175, which is a beautiful price. But I think now 75% kind of makes sense with the current line, almost -300 or something. Maybe she could be 70 to 75. The way I see it, because at the end of the day, it's still a girl fights, and it can be competitive, and I'm not confident that Ernesta is going to finish. But I think the pace, the volume, the pressure as the fight goes on can be a problem, because I think I think this girl cardio is suspect, and with all the muscle, like he said, maybe she's going to just the pace is going to be too much, and she could get finished in round 3. So with the current line, I wouldn't play Ernesta, but maybe Ernesta KO round 3 or something can be a decent look.
Nice. All right, next fight. I think this is bringing us into – no, this is still the prelims. All right, next fight is Preston Parsons versus Jacobe Smith. Preston Parsons, he is 11-5, 29, 5'11" with a 71-inch reach. Jacobe Smith, 9-0, 28, 5'10" with a 72-inch reach. Odds on these two gentlemen, you can get Jacobe Smith anywhere from -550 to -480. You get Parsons anywhere from +410 to +350. I'll go first here just because mine's quick. I had Preston Parsons +180. Probably gave it out 2 weeks ago against the fraud Gustafsson. He was going to cook this dude. He had him covered pretty much I think he had it covered in the striking, covered in the grappling. Jacobe Smith, not so easy. Jacobe Smith is a Oklahoma State wrestler. People know that. I don't think the wrestling of Parsons is going to even be competitive for him. Like, I think Jacobe Smith is going to be able to keep this standing, no problem at all. We do know in Jacobe Smith's last fight, if you watch his Dana White Contender Series fight, or maybe it was a fight before that, one of the two, you just tell he kind of slows down a bit. Do I think he has bad cardio? No, I think he can duke it out for 3 rounds. But Parsons definitely pushes a pace, and it's the best competition that Jacobe Smith has faced yet. So I kind of think going off my gut, Parsons is also pretty hittable at times. If Jacoby Smith lands, could probably put Preston Parsons out. We've only seen him finish once against D-Rod, and it was like a weird, punch to the eye, orbital type thing. But Jacoby Smith clearly hits hard, freak athlete, good wrestling. I don't hate looking and seeing where this fight goes live. Jacoby Smith now, like I said, big favorite. Jacoby Smith probably wins round one at a relatively high clip. So if that's the case, and then we start seeing him slow down, obviously could jump in because, like we said, we saw Jacoby slow down a little bit in his last fight before the KO, I think it was. So I don't know. That's my thought process. If I got to go with something, I think Jacoby Smith probably wins here, probably rolls. But if I start seeing him slow down or I see Preston Parsons starting to put things together and pick things up, I wouldn't hesitate to jump on live here. This is a big test for a debutant. What do you think, Drav?
Yeah, I'm high on Jacoby Smith. I think he's one of the good guys from the Dynamite Contender Series season. The guy is strong, he's an athlete, big wrestling, 2-time national wrestler champion. He has power. I like everything about him. Yeah, the cardio can be a bit suspect, but the guy has went 15 minutes twice already, so it's not like he's only having first round finishes. So, and it's not like Parsons gonna knock him out or something. I guess Parsons could catch him in a choke, but I think Smith's just gonna be too physical, too strong for him, and I think the power is gonna be too much. And even on the feet, they're probably not gonna look to strike too much. But I think Smith's gonna have his way. Parsons very hittable, and he doesn't really have power. So I think Smith's gonna do whatever he wants here, and just be too strong, too good for Parsons. But yeah, I mean, it is short notice for Smith, but I think he's taking this fight for a reason. Personally, it's his UFC debut, so now we're looking at minus 550. So it is maybe a bit wide, but I still think that the guy's going to win. So yeah, I'm not really looking to pick against a value loser, and I'm not really seeing a pattern in 2025. So I don't really see it for Parsons here. Not sure how you win it.
What do you think, Key?
Yeah, I came away from watching Jacoby live not that impressed. I'm not gonna lie. But then on rewatch, I was like, wow, this is real high ceiling here. Some of the foot sweeps and trips he was doing was
crazy,
just so creative. Just shit you don't see in MMA. So I'm really excited for his future. It shows how high the UFC thinks of him to throw him into a matchup like this. And I know Parsons doesn't have an amazing record in the UFC, but he's not bottom tier, just complete shit guy. So they didn't give him just a complete layup like they have for guys like Abdul Malik and even Gaudier, who we just saw get booked for the Mexico card. So the fact that they're throwing him in the fire pretty quickly shows what they think about him. I think he's going to get it done. Like Jewish said in the chat, I'm not sure. I lean KO, but I could also see grind out to decision. But I really don't see how Parsons figures this out here. This is I feel bad for him. This is the last one.
Yeah, probably. I mean, his pad is a submission, obviously, and maybe Smith get tired and sloppy, and Parsons catch him in something, but that's unlikely. That's less than 10. That's less than 20% implied. So I guess minus 400 and more is kind of fine. So
yeah,
I think Smith's gonna have a good career in the UFC.
So what are they? So that guy Gustafson, he's out because he broke his neck or something, right?
He broke his neck. Yeah, he has a neck injury. I'm not sure how, but
yeah, that saved you some money. He was gonna kill Parsons in the clinch, so you better be glad.
Yeah, right, bro. Crazy shit. It's crazy talk. Next fight, Thiago Moises versus Trey Ogden. Thiago Moises is 18-8. He's 29-5-9 on the 70-inch reach. It says Fighting Nerds here. Trey Ogden, 18-6, 35, 5'11", 72-inch reach. What'd you say there, Jav?
He was at Fighting Nerd for his last 2 camps, I believe. He did it not for this camp. This camp he was because Moises used to be at American Top Team for a long time, right? And he switched to Fighting Nerds, I believe, for his last 2 fights. But now he's back at, I'm not sure he's only training at ATT, but I see some footage where I'm not sure where it is. but I also see some footage on at ATT. I'm pretty sure. Like
Okay.
it is ATT, right? You see there.
Yeah.
Right. So he's back at ATT for this fight and for a couple months. I think since October of 2024. So decided to leave fighting, or maybe it was not a great fit for him. But yeah, I really like Moises in this spot. It's one of my play on the. Since I'm, by the way, guys, since for January, I'm posting all my bets for free on my Dub Club. So if you guys got in, I'm giving out for free my breakdowns and everything. So I'm gonna just for the podcast also. I'm also gonna give my bets for free at the same time here. So I didn't post on Twitter, but I like Moises. I'm on Moises. I play him at minus 175. What do you have, Peg? What's the problem?
I didn't give the odds yet, and you just threw in a plug, a quick plug. But go ahead, continue.
I thought you were done. My bad.
No,
But yeah, the odds like minus 180 to minus 200, I think right now, right on most books for Moises.
yeah.
Yeah, so I played minus 175 a couple of days ago. The line's kind of going back and forth. I think it should be wider. I think it should be around 70%, minus 225, minus 230 for the Moises side. I think he's slightly better everywhere than Ogden. I think he has more finishing upside. He felt a way better level of competition, and he's also younger by a couple years. So Ogden has been submitted in the past. I know we didn't really see it in the UFC, but Moises grappling offensively is very good. So I think he's live to submit him. And over 15 minutes, I think he's slightly the better striker, better wrestler, and he's the way better grappler in my opinion. I have some concern about Moises maybe playing off his back, but still, I think the guy, I think he's going to win this fight at a decent clip. Like I said, fought the much better guys. He's younger, and yeah, Ogden just find ways to win sometimes. He's a good coach and he has good fight IQ. But yeah, I think he's going to have problem with Moises' leg kicks also in that fight. And, I think Moises could get the back and it can be a wrap. So yeah, I really like him in this spot. And what else I was about to say? I was about to say something else, but you guys can go. Maybe it's going to go. Maybe I'm going to remind it.
Yeah, I agree with you. I liked Moises too. I think I talked with you about him really early on when he got down to like minus 145, I think it was, and like didn't pull the trigger then just because like Trey Ogden's such a hard guy to fight. Like something about him where like the way he mixes his shit up, like he mixes his style up well. He doesn't fight any fighter's fight. He fights his own style. He'll jab you up, then he'll clinch you, then he'll try and wrestle, then he'll step back and he'll jab. He'll kick long. He'll stay long. He's just like a funky dude to fight. And I didn't really like that for Thiago Moises, honestly, just because like I don't really know what to expect from him at this rate because he's just so all over the place. Like sometimes you see him and you're like, wow, he's a good fighter. And there's other times you see him and he gets destroyed. So it's like I didn't really know what to expect. That's why I was hesitant at minus 145. So yeah, I just stayed off. Obviously, value came in on him, and now he's minus 180, so it would have been there. But I think Moises wins here. This is a pretty big step down in competition. Looking at the record of Thiago Moises, Ludovic Kline, Mitch Ramirez, Benoit Saint-Denis, Mizel Costa, Christos Gygos. If you go even further back, I'm pretty sure that he has Islam in there.
Yeah, you saw Alvarez also. I mean, the point I was trying to make also is every time that he lost, it's because he's fighting guys that are, bigger, stronger than him, that are dangerous and pressuring and hit hard. BSD, Ludovic Kline, Joel Alvarez, and Makhachev. All of these guys were pressuring him or just better. Like Islam was just better all around.
Moises, also top level guys. We're talking about top 10 guys.
Yeah, but he's kind of, when he's getting pressure cooked, that's where he loses. When guys are just hitting him too hard, they're trying to make him quit, and I guess he could play off his back, but he's dangerous with the leg lock and shit. But Ogden is just not dangerous whatsoever. And it's not like he's going to pressure cook Moises or something.
No.
The worry I have is if he takes him down and Moises just play BJJ off his back and Ogden wins on top. But I have to believe, the game plan of Moises will be to avoid that. But
I agree. What do you think, Key?
Yeah, I don't really have any interest in this fight whatsoever. Moises is pretty underwhelming to me. Ogden is like the non-athletic guy that lacks explosivity, but still manages to win fights. I mean, we've seen how good his game plans are, not only for his own fighters that he coaches, but himself. So I have to assume that he's done good tape study and is going to have a great game plan in this fight. I have to assume that he's going to I have to assume that he's going to pressure here, because on tape, that's what Moises is struggling with. And that's pretty obvious. So this will be interesting to see how Moises bounces back after a pretty good ass whooping from Ludovic Kline, but he's an athletic freak. And Ogden just isn't that. So it'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I think we'll probably get some fun scrambles, some fun grappling exchanges, but I don't think either one's just going to look massively dominant here. So for me, it's a pass. I can understand taking a dog shot on Ogden, but for me, it's a somewhat of a low upside bet because there's not a bunch of finishing upside on the Ogden side. So for me, it's a complete pass.
All right. Next fight we have another prelim fight. It's going to be Marco Tulio versus Ihor Potieria. Marco Tulio is 12-1. He's minus 30 years old, 6 feet tall, 74-inch reach. Ihor Potieria is 21-7, 28, 6'3", 75-inch reach. Odds of these two gentlemen. I'm sorry. So Tulio is anywhere from minus 500 to minus 450. Potieria anywhere from plus 400 to plus 370. Yeah. So Key, I'll have you go first here. What do you think? How do you think this fight goes? Does Tulio add another finish to his highlight reel, or do you think Potieria actually keeps this closer than people are expecting?
No, I think that Tulio finds a finish here. The Usuri hiccup was funny because Usuri is damn near harmless, but he redeemed himself against Duclos in a fight that he showed a lot of aggression in. And I hope that continues because I do think that that's when he's at his best. And all the shooter box guys, I mean, that's just who they are. Potieria, I think is complete shit. This should be it for him. I at least hope. The Cesar Almeida loss was just underwhelming on the Almeida side and all the fouls that were happening. Potieria got a bunch of breaks. I'm sure that helped with his cardio. But I think that Tulio is the guy. I think that this money line's a little wide, but I can't argue against. I would line peg minus 200 against Potieria right now. So I'm not sure how to feel about that, but I think that he gets it done here. I believe that the inside the distance on Bet Online is like minus 340. Like, come on. So there's not really a lot of ways to play this here, and I don't really have interest in parlaying him. So it's a pass for me. But some interesting ways to play on Prize Picks, Underdog Fantasy, and better though. I will say that.
So I think Tulio wins, but I think it's gonna be a lot closer than people think. I haven't jumped on Ihor's spread yet, but I've been thinking about it. And the reason I think that is because every fight we watch Ihor come into, he gets a little bit better each time, right? And his striking, he's going to have faster hands here. I think he throws a little bit more volume than Tulio at times. And I just think like Tulio is going to be searching for that KO. He's going to be searching for that highlight finish, stuff like that. I think that gives Ihor time to also not have to worry too much about pace and also find his shots and stuff like that. Is it a risky bet because Tulio is a finisher? 100%. That's why I'm kind of not taking it right now. But I'm just going to wait to see what the lines comes out to on DraftKings. I think there is like a potential where Ihor has a close fight and or finds himself. I don't think he's going to win. Honestly, I really don't. But I think, like you said, I think the money line side is just way too wide, and that I think he can keep it fight here and possibly win a round. Probably, I would think earlier than later. What do you think, Drav?
Yeah, I don't mind what you're saying. The thing I don't like about Ihor is his cardio. I don't think his cardio is great. But I think early in the first round, it's going to be kind of competitive, I think Ihor can move a lot, but I think as the fight goes on, Tulio pressure is just going to be too much, and his cardio is way better, and he has some grappling upside. So I think the spread can be decent because it's plus 300 and the money line is plus 375. So that's better than 500 for sure. But the problem I have there with the spread is I give Tulio a lot of finishing upside, but more in round 2 and 3. So what I like instead, if I were to play anything, is like fight start round 2 or the over 1.5, because I don't think Ihor chin is bad. I think his cardio is bad. So I think Tulio might finish him, but it's not like he's like putting a lot of combination early and just trying to finish everybody. He does have power and he has nice kicks and stuff like that, but I think he's gonna finish him in round 2 or 3. So I don't think I have them on my book, but if I had, I would play the fight to start round 2. It's probably like minus 220 or something, which I think is decent.
Okay. All right. So next fight is, how long are these prelims going on for me? Next fight, another prelim fight we have here. It's Jose Johnson versus Felipe Bunes. Jose Johnson, 16-9, 29, 6 feet tall, a 71-inch reach. Felipe Bunes, 13-7, 35, 5'7", 71-inch reach. Odds on these two gentlemen, Felipe Bunes, anywhere from plus 150 to plus 160. Jose Johnson, anywhere from minus 180 to minus 200. Drav, we'll have you go first. What do you think about this fight?
Yeah, I don't have a strong read on it. I think Bunes has grappling upside. Johnson struggled with the takedown defense. His scrambles and BJJ off his back is pretty good, and he's a long, tall guy for this weight class. He's 6 foot tall flyweight. But I think the guy has power and he's a better striker here. But I have concerns about Johnson takedown defense, and I have concerns about Bunes cardio. Especially the Van fight obviously was a bad look, but Johnson doesn't pressure as much. So I guess Bunes could be fine here if he lands takedown, but I don't think Johnson's the easiest guy to hold down on the ground with sub prop. So I think Bunes, he's a good BJJ player. So the guy could get on top and potentially submit Johnson or get some top control. So I think it's, more of a striker versus grappler matchup. But Johnson, like I said, is also dangerous with his submission off his back. So maybe a violence bet here, maybe the under 2.5 or something, because of Bunes' bad cardio, because Johnson has been submitted before, because Johnson hit hard, he's way bigger, stuff like that. But Bunes is 35 at flyweight. I'm not really too big on that, but I think he's a live underdog on this card. I'll say that. I'm not even sure who's going to win this fight personally. I think the values on Bunes, I think it should be a bit closer to a pick-em. So I guess I'll go with Bunes for the sake of the show, but I don't have a strong read on it. I think violence might be a good way to look at it. I don't know what you guys think. I think, Peg, you have a stronger read than me on this one.
Yeah, I actually liked Bunes going into it. I mean, we talked about the spread, thought we were going to get a better number on plus 3.5. I do think Bunes wins round 1 at a pretty high clip. But like you said, one of the biggest worries about Bunes is his gas tank. He does get tired. One thing that stands out about this fight that you don't see in most Jose Johnson fights, Bunes is a pretty big 125er. It says he's 5'7". I'm willing to bet he's a little bit bigger than that. And honestly, I think his wrestling upside is pretty good and pretty high. His jiu-jitsu upside is very high as well. But I think both those things are probably going to have to come earlier than later. The only thing to keep me off a spread is just, like we talked about, the cardio and how hard. Wow. Okay. See? So prop just put me on to something. It was minus 150, and I told Drav earlier this week I wanted minus 125. That being said, if it's there, I'll probably play that. What was kind of keep me off was a late finish from Johnson, if he's able to clap him or hit him while he's tired or something like that. But Bunes does have that dog in him. I'm willing, and I think I'm willing to take a shot there. So I'm going to agree with prop here. I think I'm going to take spread plus 3.5. Seems reasonable on Bunes. And that's kind of where I stand. I think I'd just play the spread. What do you think, Key?
Yeah, this is a complete pass fight for me. I'm not going to waste the people's time. Bunes actually has some good losses. And I played Josh Van in many different ways to start last year off. And I think that Bunes is probably value at this point. I don't think that Jose Johnson should be minus 180 against many people at all. So dog shot on Bunes makes sense. Outside of that, I'm not interested in playing this fight at all.
Yeah, he says Bunes too. Underdog could wrestle here. Pass. I don't know. I think he could be a pretty good dog here. I just got to do a little more looking into it, but I'm probably going to play that spread, like I said. All right, next fight we have. This is now we're entering the main event of our card. Guys, we do this for free every week. We always go over this. The way to support us, throw us a like, leave a comment, subscribe to the channel. We're happy to help you guys out. We love doing this for you guys. This is the easiest way to support us, and we appreciate that. This next fight, Punahele Soriano versus Uros Medic. Punahele Soriano is 32, 5'11 with a 72.5-inch reach. Uros Medic is 31, 6'1 with a 71-inch reach. Line on these two gentlemen is anywhere from -220 to -197 for Uros, and Punahele Soriano is anywhere from +185 to +160. Key, I'm going to have you go first since you're an Uros Medic truther. He wins this fight, but does he find the finish is the question.
The doctor is here, bitch. I think that this is a easy cleanup spot. I shouldn't say easy because Puna's a tough guy. But we got to stop acting like Puna's like Habib all of a sudden because he like sat on top of Miguel Baeza for 15 minutes. Baeza was cosplaying as Ryan Hall for that fight and just decided to become a leg locker. And Soriano took advantage of that. I can't blame him. I mean, take the easiest path to victory, but that's not going to fly here. I think that Medic, his takedown defense issues and his grappling holes in general are a little bit overstated. And I think that if anything, what people need to be, if you're backing Soriano, is hoping that Soriano is the one that actually has had his gas tank improve and hoping that he can win some of the later minutes here because early, there's just going to be a very, very stark speed difference. I mean, we saw Kopylov getting tired while whooping Puna's ass, but the speed difference there looked crazy. Medic is 10 times faster, former lightweight that's coming up to welterweight. And it's been at welterweight for a little second now, but that speed is still there and the pop is still there. So I expect Medic to put on a show early. I'm not sure if he finishes. I hope that he goes to the body because I think that that's going to be the way to find the finish, honestly, because I do think that Puna has a real chin. But I think going to the body is going to pay off later on for Medic. So I hope that that's a big part of the game plan here. But Medic is nasty on the feet. I mean, I'm old enough to remember last time when guys were arguing for old man Tim Means to sit here and win a fight against the doctor, and then the doctor sat his ass down and sent him to a hospital. So this is a spot where I think the Medic is maybe lined up to do the same. But I will say, backing -220 straight or parlaying it on Medic in small cage, I'm not too hot on that. So if you can get around to KO prop, maybe +135 isn't outrageous. But I also think that the decision's live. So I'm getting creative on Prize Picks, Underdog Fantasy with how I play Medic. But I think that this is going to be a very fun fight. I think that this is going to be one of the best fights on the card. Regardless of who wins or how this plays out, I think it's going to be a banger. So I'm more than anything just excited to see this fight happen.
Yeah, I agree with you. I'm going to be on Medic, but I'm just waiting because even though the line did blow up, I do think money is going to come in on Soriano closer to. Soriano obviously has his ways to win, right? Soriano is strong as can be, swings heavy overhands. The whole wrestling narrative that came on from last fight, do you guys know when the last takedown was before he shot the takedowns last fight, when the last time Soriano got a takedown?
I know he had takedowns against Jamie Pickett back in the days. I don't know if that was their fights, but
that was in 2019. So he, between the past 5 years, this was the last time he got a takedown from then to now. I don't think anything changes here. Everyone's worried about Uros' takedowns, right? Like, oh, his takedown's so bad because of what happened with Oralbai. If you go and watch, like, Oralbai is a very good wrestler, right? He's one of those guys, if I remember correctly, he was able to take down Brazilian dog. What's his name? Brenner, right? Elvis?
yeah.
So,
Brenner's on defense is good.
I'm not sure about his takedown defense is being good, but I think Brenner is a grappler first. He's a grappler first.
I get what you're saying. The point is, like, Oralbai wrestling is way better than Soriano.
And watch, and if you watch like how Medic dealt with those takedowns, He did all the things you want to do, tried to find his base, got back to the cage, stuff like that. It's just good to see him do those type of things. And I'm sure that takedown defense and that wrestling is going to improve fight to fight. I think Uros is getting better. He went from a camp in Alaska to, I think he's at a real gym now, right? Like, isn't he? He's at like a good gym now. I think he's doing the wrestling part. He's going to get better each fight. So I'm not really worried about that. A little bit worried about, like he said, small cage, overhand, punching people, hitting people hard. That's always possible. But yes, King's MMA with Benil. That's where I saw it. So I like that aspect of it. But like I said, I think money's going to come in on Soriano closer to. If I can get anywhere close to like minus 180 on Medic, I'll probably play him straight. But that's kind of where I think. I think this is a good Medic spot. Like he said, I think he's going to piece him up on the feet. He's going to be a lot quicker than he is. I think he's going to be able to stop the takedowns. And if he does get taken down, I think he's going to get up no problem. So I like Medic here as well. What do you think, Drav?
Yeah, I agree. I think he's just way better striker. I mean, he has way more tools than Soriano does. And, Soriano, the only thing I'll say, like you mentioned, is he has a good chin. So I think Medic should go to the body. And he does. I mean, in the clinch with the knees and elbows, he's kind of nasty with that. So I think to invest in the body early could be smart. And, Soriano, the only thing, though, is like Soriano used to fight at middleweight, and he's cutting down at welterweight since his last fight. So maybe he's just going to be stronger than Medic, and maybe just, his cardio is better now. But on the feet, he's pretty basic. And I think Medic's going to, be able to find it to get his striking going pretty easily. And yeah, I just think, like I said, he's the way better striker. And like we all said, we see this as being a striking match. First of all, like, could Soriano take him down once or twice? Maybe, but I don't really think he's going to hold him down. And, I think Medic could knock him out. But I think also a sneaky way to play that could be like a Medic decision. I don't know what the price is, but I think if he does finish, it's going to be like because of a lot of body work. And as the fight goes on, round 2, 3 KO from Medic. But maybe the over 1.5 is not bad also. Medic decision on Bet Online's plus 300. I don't mind that. But at the same time, the guy's a finisher, They call him the doctor for a reason. He has all his fights, he finished them. So, and I think it could be a repeat of the Kopylov fight, to be honest. So we'll see, though. Excited for this one. I think Medic KO or decision, not sure.
All right. Next fight we have. Let's do comments real quick. Where Medic KO on Fanatics plus 185. I mean,
that's pretty good.
That's kind of off, I feel like. But like we said, Soriano's got a good chin, not a good body. Champ agrees with me. The urgency of seeing him get up against a guy like Oralby, like that's huge. And I think it's only going to get better. I also think Uros cooks. I just think, like we said, I think we're getting I think the narrative of the takedowns and shit is just getting out of hand for this fight and for what Soriano actually is. Okay, next fight we have here is Austin Bashi versus – I just fucked all that up. Austin Bashi versus what do we want to call him? The prospect killer C-Rod, right? Austin Bashi, 13-0, 23, 5'6" with a 70-inch reach. C-Rod, 11-2, 27, 5'7", 71-inch reach. It says he's at Rufus Sports. Isn't he at what's that camp?
He's been at Rufus Sports. I mean, he's been done
there,
with Fight Ready.
I thought he was at Fight Ready now for this one, right?
He's been done with Fight Ready for like 3-4 fights at this point.
He didn't go back for this. For some reason, I thought he went back for this camp. I don't know why. But either way, odds on these two gentlemen. Bashi's anywhere from minus 260 to 290. C-Rod plus 235 to plus 220. Like Drav said, his picks are free in his dub club. Go join there so I can feel free to say. Drav, you're on Bashi. Tell us why.
Yeah, we got Bashi minus 225. Actually, my biggest position on the card. And, at first I was like, it could be a decent C-Rod bet. That's what I was thinking going into tapes. And the hot take of the week will be that Bashi cardio is better than C-Rod cardio. C-Rod is the prospect carrier, but why is he beating, Isaac Doguer and Rosas Jr.? Remember, he's losing the first round. He's getting dominated against these guys. But what happened? They gas out and he's taking over. Different series, I think Bashi has the pace and the cardio to do that for 15 minutes. The guys went 5 rounds before. His cardio is very good. And he's chain wrestling his takedowns in round 4 and 5 in the fight that I've watched. So his chain wrestling is very good. Cardio is elite. And he has a Muay Thai background. Yeah, I know he's not like the greatest striker, but you know what he's doing on the feet. He's switching stances. And C-Rod, he's a good boxer. He's the better striker of the two. But it's not like he has one-shot power, one-shot KO power, and he's going to knock him out. That's not going to happen. So he's going to have to worry about the takedowns from Bashi. And because of that, I expect Bashi to have some success on the feet. Like I said, his striking is decent. He has good head kick. He switch stances and stuff like that. But his pressure and pace is just going to be too much. And, you know, everybody that really wanted to take down C-Rod were able to. And the difference here is I think Bashi is going to be able to do that for 15 minutes. Also, like his back take, and we've seen C-Rod losing minutes from the back take. And Bashi has a good rear naked choke. He has some submissions. So you could submit him. And, you know, the guy has some great win on the regional. He fought a guy like Askar, who's a good fighter, and he finished him. So the guy can finish fights, and he can do it for 15 minutes. So I think that's a bad matchup for C-Rod. I also expect Bashi to be a bit stronger than C-Rod. I wish C-Rod stay at 135. I think that's, you know, where his ceiling is higher. But, yeah, I played Juicy J last time out. He was an underdog. He submitted him, but to be fair, Juicy J front chokes are nasty. So I think if Bashi finish him, it's going to be like a rear naked choke. But C-Rod's submission defense is very good. The way I see C-Rod potentially winning this fight is catching Bashi in a front choke and guillotine or something like that. That could happen, but I think he's kind of sub or bust here because I don't think he's going to do enough on the feet to, you know, steal rounds because Bashi just going to, you know, he's going to compete on the feet and he's going to do too much with the takedowns. And C-Rod's going to have to defend over and over again. If Bashi doesn't get the first takedown, he's going to shoot again. He might shoot 15 takedowns here and get 5 and win the round with a back take and, you know, have some moments on the feet. So I think the guy he's an undefeated prospect. He's young. I think his future is bright. I think his ceiling is super high. And I've listened to some interviews. I think the guy is very smart. You know what he's doing. And he said it himself. He said, my cardio is a weapon. So I don't really get why these people compare me to Rosas Jr. and stuff like that. My cardio is a weapon. We'll see. So, yeah, I like him. But with that being said, I think he should be, you know, minus 300. So now there's potentially some slight value, but, you know, minus 225 was a good spot. So, yeah, I like him here. And C-Rod's one of the dog on the card that a lot of people like. I do understand why, like I said, but I just think Bashi stylistically is a bad matchup for him. And the difference is he can do what the other people did to C-Rod, but he can do it for 15 minutes and potentially finish the fight. So,
Key, what are you thinking?
Yeah, it's hard for me to get around to back in debutante at these odds against C-Rod. And while I get that he's not the same as Rosas or Bulgarian, I also think the C-Rod's probably has to have gotten better since those fights in the grappling. My bad. I think that this is
amateur hour in 2025. Crazy move.
Oh, I know that's not the host that can't pronounce a fucking name to save his life is talking.
Yo, have I gotten any wrong? Have I gotten any wrong today?
We haven't had that hard of names to start. But we'll
see. It's okay. 2025
as
is
these
different.
cards go on, we'll see. And actually, I'll keep a fucking tracker this year of how many names.
All right. I'm pitching a perfect game right now. Don't jinx me.
So I'm gonna hold you to that. But
okay.
but in all seriousness, though, I think that Bashi is good. I think both guys should be at 135, but they both had pretty good explanations in their media day interviews today. Bashi said that he's still growing and he thinks that he can build into 145. And C-Rod said that he was cutting too much weight for himself personally. It was getting back up to 166, 167 on fight nights, which is pretty crazy. So I think that they're well matched. This is good featherweight matchups for both of them. But I'm not getting around to minus 270. And I think that Bashi is the goods, but you're going to have to prove it to me. Debut, small cage, adrenaline dumps. I mean, there's just so much at play for me to just want to eat minus 270. But I'm not too hyped up on C-Rod saying that his path is getting dominated for a round and maybe half of a next round and then deciding to turn it on. So it's a pass fight for me as of right now, but I can't knock anybody that's taking C-Rod shots because we have seen this story somewhat before.
Yeah, so I did a little tape into this. I had no reason to really tape it deep because I didn't really feel like betting it, so I didn't really look too far into it.
That's only because you saw my breakdown, so he was like, "Nah, I don't need to tape the fight."
I didn't, yeah, because I don't tell you, so I didn't even want, like, he put a bet on it. I'm like, all right, great, I can't touch it. No, but Bashi, I think he has a really high ceiling. I think he's like really good. People kind of, like you said, his wrestling's really good. He was really good. I don't think he was a college wrestler, but he was a high school wrestler. But what I think was cooler, if you go look at his like Flow Wrestling online, he's a world champion in jiu-jitsu. So he's got like great jiu-jitsu stuff like that. He's at a Muay Thai gym, which is pretty cool. One thing I saw that I was trying to find on my phone now was he was the UFC was pitching him as like, it was something like he's the first something fighter, some like crazy country. I can't really find it, but it was like, I'll look into it while we go on to the next fight. When you guys doing breakdowns, I'll find it. But it was like some crazy country that he was a part of. And like, I saw the country's name and I was like, okay, I'm going to go look this up. So I went to go look it up, and it was like a country or like an area from like the Mesopotamian times that he's the first fighter out of. And it's like, that shit ain't even real anymore, bro. So that's just UFC trying to pitch like a new guy or a new person. Like, oh, first guy from here. He looks like a white dude from the U.S. His first name's Austin, bro. It's like the whitest first name you could have. So I don't know what they're trying to pitch here, but hey, I'm not buying it. I think it's cool. I think it's going to be a great fight. I think it's going to be a banger. No bet from me. I don't hate Bashi in a parlay if you want to parlay him, but up to you guys. Let's go on to the next one. Next fight is Chris Action Man. Actually, we'll do comments, then we'll go on to the next one. I almost forgot. Champ said he'd like C-Rod to win. Huge step up for Bashi. Dulgarian's control is better. I mean, Dulgarian won that fight. We're not going to talk about that, but Dulgarian won that fight. He was robbed. Called it. I don't know what this is about, but I have a feeling it has to do with pronunciation. But guess what? Like I said, pitching a perfect game. Can't be mad about that. Chris Curtis versus Roman Kopylov. Chris Curtis is 31-11, 37, 5'10 with a 75.5-inch reach. Roman Kopylov, 13-3, 32, 6 feet tall with a 75-inch reach. A lot of these two gentlemen, you can get Chris Curtis anywhere from plus 216 to plus 200. You get Kopylov anywhere from minus 243 to minus 275. I'm going to go first here just because I'll get it out of the way. I think this is a fine spot for Kopylov. This is a big step up for him, I think, but I think he's ready for this task. Chris Curtis is 37, coming off a knee injury. Chris Curtis is definitely the better boxer here, but when it comes to kickboxing, wrestling, stuff like that, I think Kopylov has the clear side here. People are going to be like, wrestling. Chris Curtis has great takedown defense, this, that, and other. I totally agree. But it's when a guy gets a good kicking game going and striking game going like Kopylov does that you don't expect him to even go for takedowns, and then he does. So I think if anyone shoots a takedown and wrestles, it's going to be Kopylov. I don't really see him doing that. Chris Curtis constantly looks to get into boxing range. He's kind of a counter striker. And I think with the kicks and the movement of Kopylov, I don't think he gets there. So if he's outside of boxing range, it's just like, I've been on Chris Curtis multiple times. And sometimes you're just staring at your TV screen being like, Chris, do something. He just sits there, Philly shells, throws a jab, sits here. And it's just like, I don't know. Maybe I'm just low on him and I'm hating on him just because of past experiences, but like I'm not backing Chris Curtis here. Plus, I like Roman Kopylov. I think he wins here. I think he wins a decision. I don't think he's going to finish Chris Curtis by any means, but I think he wins a decision. What do you think, Kay?
Yeah, I wholeheartedly disagree with a lot of your breakdown. So number one, I bet Chris Curtis out last time. I think all of us did, or I know me and Rob.
MAB?
Against Allen.
I did both MAB and Allen.
Okay, yeah. So I think all of us were on him against Allen. I think they won that fight. To be fair, I thought they won the fight on rewatch too. And I think that that's been one of his better performances within the past year. So age-wise, that does not concern me at all. He's taken enough time after that was a hamstring injury that it was, and then a foot injury. So he's taken enough time since then to get healthy. He's been in Thailand for a good bit of this training camp and got back to Extreme Couture in Vegas. So a lot of different looks. He's getting a lot of different looks and making sure that I'm sure that he's going to be able to check a lot of the kicks here. Versus Kopylov. Kopylov is not the same type of striker that Imavov or Hermansen is. Kopylov definitely, one, is striking with more power, and I don't think this cardio is even close to the level of Imavov or Hermansen. That's not saying a lot because I don't think that Imavov's cardio is the greatest either. But Kopylov is literally, I mean, you're watching him hands on his knees in some of his early fights. You're talking about you got finished by Carl Roberson. Cesar Almeida, if he can stop a takedown in round 3, he probably wins the fight, and I think that he probably even has an argument to still win the fight as it was. And I back Cesar Almeida there. Kopylov has absolutely zero grappling upside in this fight, in my opinion. I get that, you don't expect it from a striker, blah, blah, blah. I think that Curtis' takedown defense is that damn good. I think that his hips are that strong, and it definitely has to feel like you're hitting a brick whenever you're trying to take him down. And so you're talking about a guy that at times was scramble for scramble with Brendan Allen, and I'm supposed to think that Kopylov is going to sit on top against him? Fuck no. I don't think the Kopylov is going to justify these price tags against anybody who pressures like this. I know that people love to say, Curtis, and I think a lot of this is biased because people don't like Curtis' persona on Twitter, which is fair. I mean, if he's not your cup of tea, he's not your cup of tea, and that's cool, but let's not sit here and lie. People are calling him low volume and stuff. Curtis averages 5.7 strikes landed per minute in the UFC. That is not low volume by any means. I don't know where this low volume narrative has come from. I know that the Hermansen fight was an ugly look. That was a lot of front kicks, a lot of square stuff. Same thing with Imavov, a lot of front kick, square stuff, but they also have real physicality and grappling. Kopylov has none of that. Kopylov's been bonked. We've seen him get bonked multiple times, actually. Minus 200 against Ribeiro. People forget Ribeiro had him on death's door at the end of round 1 and then proceeded to shoot for a double leg like an idiot. So we've seen Kopylov hurt and small cage. Again, the fights where Curtis was struggling in, think about where they were. UFC 289, big cage. UFC London, big cage. He's put on some of his best performances at the Apex. Small cage, he's able to get into boxing range a lot easier. Kopylov doesn't have enough real estate to be able to move around in the octagon, in my opinion. So I think that Curtis is going to walk him down. I think he's going to get into boxing range. I think he's the more physical guy. I wouldn't be surprised to see some clinch work too. And I rate Curtis boxing in range really fucking elite. Like just hands-wise, the way that he finds his shots, he doesn't overthrow on anything. It seems like his feet are always in place and ready to strike back. Great counter striker. I think Kopylov better hope that he hurts him with a head kick or something crazy very early, because otherwise I think there's probably going to be a long night for him. Rounds 2 and round 3, I think that Curtis wins at a very high clip. Kopylov, I know that everybody loves the way that – I get it. It's exciting. It's flashy, and that's cool. But that style, in my opinion, is not sustainable for 15 minutes with his cardio. That constant bouncing around. And we saw that Cesar Almeida fight was not a high-paced fight at all. Like, I think that people forget. That was not a high-paced fight at all, and he was still needing those takedowns to save him. If he doesn't get those takedowns, he doesn't win the fight. And that's because Cesar Almeida had horrible takedown defense, and then off of his back was terrible. Chris Curtis, big, long-time vet. He's seen it all. He's not aging badly, and I get, he is aging somewhat, but, I mean, just had one of his best performances, in my opinion, against a real title contender in Brendan Allen, if we're being honest. So I think that he's going to walk Kopylov down. I think that Kopylov is going to have a hard time. And I think another thing to mention also, not only has he been in Thailand, but he also has a lot of training partners that have fought Kopylov. Cesar Almeida and Soriano have both fought Kopylov. So you got to think coaches are familiar with game planning for Kopylov. He has teammates that have gone and actually seen Kopylov in fight. So I think if I'm Chris Curtis and I'm asking to beat Kopylov, what do I ask for? Small cage. My teammates have already fought him. My coaches have already game planned for him. I've been in Thailand. I probably used a couple steroids or two while in Thailand too, so that also helps. And so I can't really ask for a much better situation if I'm Chris Curtis or if I'm a Chris Curtis better. So this is, in my opinion, a perfect scenario for Chris Curtis. Kopylov is good, and I get it's exciting, but people have to understand what they're seeing. This isn't a situation where he can just cruise to a 15-minute decision. Kopylov doesn't like pressure, regardless of if you're throwing or not. He just doesn't like pressure. And the reactions whenever he's getting hit, that hair constantly bouncing and moving all the time, bad look for judges. And this is stuff that matters. I mean, we're talking about Chris Curtis lost his last fight because he gave a bad look to the judge in the end of 5th round with tearing his hamstring. So this is stuff that genuinely matters. And so Kopylov's bad reactions, the hair moving, all that stuff, I mean, you can't ask for better conditions if you're Chris Curtis. So plus 210, easy fucking click for me. Easy.
Great. Drav, what do you think?
Peg's on his way to make a Curtis bet now.
Nah, me. Never. Not doing that this time. I'll watch this one as a fan, and if he wins, maybe he earns my respect again. But till then, I'm out. What do you think, Drav?
I'm a bit in the middle here. I don't disagree with anything he said. The only thing I'll say is I think Kopylov's going to have his way early at kicking range. And, you know, Curtis can be a slow starter at times. So I do expect Kopylov to get some body kick going and, you know, win the first round. But I'm pretty fucking confident that Curtis is going to win the 3rd round and maybe finish him late. And I don't really see Kopylov finishing him unless he catch him with a head kick or something. But to be fair, Curtis is very good at countering the head kick like he did against Buckley, if you guys remember. So, I mean, Curtis, you know, he's older, but like he said, it's not like he's digressed, like he's not on the decline or anything like that. So, and the way he fights, it's just that Kopylov, I think he's going to win early. But as the fight goes on, his cardio is not great, and Curtis' cardio is pretty good. And Curtis is going to have his fight. He's going to have the fight that you want after like 7 minutes, I believe, because Kopylov is not going to be able to like dance around and kick like he do early for 15 minutes against the pressure of Curtis and the counter punching and the power and everything. So what I think is like maybe I'm just going to wait and live bet him after a round, because if he loses the first round, he might be like plus 350 or something live. And I'm confident that the round 2 is going to be close, and the 3rd round he's going to win or maybe finish. The other thing I like also, if you look on FanDuel, you have Curtis by KO in round 3. It's plus 2,800. I think it's a stupid price because if he does finish, I do believe it's going to be in the 3rd round personally. If not, it might go the distance and be very close. But Kopylov winning the 1st and losing the 3rd, so the 2nd round kind of close. But with these type of fights, you want to be on the plus 200 underdog. So I completely agree with that. So. But I'm not sure who's going to win, you know, I'm really not sure. So I guess I'll go with the dog just because I think it's going to be close, and one is plus 210. But I might wait and try to live bet after a round here because I think the HUD's going to be better because Curtis is going to lose the 1st. But I'm still thinking about it a little bit.
I also agree with the live bet angle is smart. I do believe that that's something that everybody, regardless of who you think is going to win, I think everybody knows that Kopylov's success is pretty front loaded here. And so I think that after round 1, I think that this is a pretty good live bet spot potentially. So I think the live bet angle is very smart.
Great. All right, we'll move on to our next fight. But before we do that, I found what I was talking about. They say Austin Bashi is the first Chaldean fighter, Chaldean, right? So Chaldea, that means you're from Chaldea. If you look at a map, this is Chaldea. No such thing. It's just like a little, it looks like a little dick that is between Iraq, Syria, Lebanon, Israel, and Jordan, right? So we're talking about a little dick country, and it was a small country that existed between the late 10th, 9th, and mid-6th century BC. So that means before Christ, for anyone who doesn't know. That country hasn't existed in 2,025 years, maybe even more. And we're going to say he's the first Chaldean fighter. Give me a break. Just pick an area where you want to be from and just be from there. That's my take on that. All right. Comments. I agree with Champ. Kopylov wins this fight. Curtis also loses into the headbutt. I think I was on Curtis in that fight too, and that was bullshit. So I think I was on Curtis there too. But that's why I'm a little salty.
Yeah, you just have Curtis PTSD, bro. That's what it is.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. But in that fight, bro, I played the over, dude, and it was so sweaty. Like, it was crazy fight.
All right. I agree. Next fight, Abdul Razak Al Hassan versus Cesar Almeida. Abdul Razak Al-Hassan is 12-6. He's 39, 5'10", 73-inch reach. Cesar Almeida, 6-1, 36, 6'1", 74-inch reach. Odds in these two gentlemen, you get Cesar Almeida anywhere from -250 to -300. You can get Al-Hassan anywhere from +225 to +200. I'll go first just so mine's quick. This is an easy Cesar Almeida spot. I think they're setting him up here. I think he's going to just out kickbox the shit out of Al-Hassan. He's going to be so much faster, so much cleaner. Huge disadvantage at the feet. Everyone talks. I think the only chance Al-Hassan has is if he gets takedowns, because obviously that's the only way to beat, or people have had luck beating Cesar Almeida is with takedowns. I don't think he really gets them here. I think it's possible, but Cesar Almeida gets up. It's not like Al-Hassan has like the best like top time ever. So I don't know. I think Cesar Almeida wins. I think it's a 7 spot. I think Cesar Almeida wins by KO. Job, what are you thinking?
I don't have much to say here. I don't have a strong read on it. I think the price is a bit wide, to be honest, because Almeida, he's a kickboxer, and Al-Hassan is there to crack early the first round. And he has big power, and he has judo background. So if he has all the grappling upside, and he can be very dangerous early. But they're both kind of old now, and Almeida is only 6-1 as a pro, so I'm not looking to lay that type of price on him. But yeah, I think Almeida win, but I'm not confident, and I don't like the price at all. So my pick's Almeida, but no strong read on my end. Key, what you think?
Yeah, this is a pass fight for me. Almeida's underwhelming as hell, and has just fucked off what I think could have been a pretty smooth run for him. And I think he should be undefeated in the UFC and with multiple finishes. I think that Abdul is going to come out hot and heavy. And I don't rate Caesar's bottom game highly. And I think that he shows bad IQ. But it's hard for me going against Abdul. It's not like he's going against the highest IQ guy in the world. So it's a pass fight for me, but dog or pass.
All right. Next fight, Santiago Ponzinibbio versus Carlston Harris. Santiago Ponzinibbio is 38, 6 feet tall, the 73-inch reach. Carlston Harris is 19-6, 37, 6 feet tall, 76-inch reach. Line of these two gentlemen, it's gotten all the way out of hand to now where Carlston Harris is +117, Ponzinibbio is -140. These lines totally flipped. I'll go first just because I have a bet on it. I bet Carlston Harris at even odds. That's kind of where I thought this was going to stop. I said I would add more at plus odds. I'm still going to wait because people are still clearly steaming Ponzinibbio. This line makes sense if this was Ponzinibbio back in 2017. Ponzinibbio has pretty decent takedown defense. I think that he's pretty good outside. If you want to fight his fight, he used to have a good chin. He's good at kicking at range. He's good at striking at range, right? Like Ponzinibbio was a good fighter back in the day. Last 3 fights, he's looked like shit. I think his chin's starting to go. I think he's looking a lot slower, and he's getting taken down by Muslim Salikov. So that being said, now we got a guy in Carlston Harris. Big. He's not the best striker, but he throws pretty strong punches. He's a big guy. He throws heavy with a bad chin like Ponzinibbio. If he catches Ponzinibbio, I think he knocks him out. So I think he's live for a knockout early in this fight. When it comes to a wrestling standpoint, I think he's a relatively high-level grappler in the sense that we've seen him, I'm pretty sure we were all on Jeremiah Wells, and it was looking like the best bet in the country in the century. And then all of a sudden, Anaconda choked dead. Craziest shit I've ever seen in my life. But that being said, I think if he gets to the ground, any type of front choke, I think, is live here for Carlston Harris as well. I think if he grapples him, he can top time him as well. I think Carlston Harris will be able to grapple Ponzinibbio here, at least for the first 2 rounds. If it comes to that, I just don't understand what is going on with this line. Ponzinibbio, like I said, if it was 7 years ago, yeah, I could see that being the case. But at this point, I think he's just totally washed. I kind of think he's done. He's past his day. And I think Carlston Harris, he needs a win here. And I think he probably finds it. Like I said, KO early, sub late, decision. People don't realize it. Carlston Harris is, I want to say he's 8-3 to the decision. So if it does go to decision, he's not like he loses fights. He does pretty well. Let me just go confirm that. Yeah, he is 8-3 to decision. So, I mean, Carlson Harris is a pretty good fighter. I think, he hasn't had the level of competition Ponzinibbio has, but Ponzinibbio has been around forever. That's why. So, Carlson Harris is the bet for me. Plus 117, I love it. I would bet it for a unit and a half, 2 units. I think that's a great bet. I think the line has just gotten out of hand at this rate. Job, what are you thinking here?
Yeah, you're more passionate about this fight than me. To me, it's too, like you said, Santiago is washed. He is on the decline durability wise, but it's not like Aris is not on the decline himself, and it's not like Aris' chin is amazing. He's 37 years old himself, and he's been cracked and put down himself. So I just think that Santiago's the better striker of the two, and he fought the much better guys. And I don't really think Aris is going to have much grappling upside. So Santiago is the better striker. I think he's the better minute winner. I think he's just a cleaner guy overall. And I think they can both get cracked here personally. And I don't trust either of these guys' durability at this point in his career. And they're both 38 and 37. So to me, it's just a pass. But I think it should be lined closer to a pick 'em. But for a pick, I guess I'll just go against you. I'll pick Santiago to win a decision. But I wish you the best for your money and your bet on Aris. He could definitely win. I think it's going to be close. So,
what are you thinking, Key?
Yeah, I think you're probably gonna lose some money. But good luck though.
Great. Lovely. Tell me why I'm gonna lose, Key.
Peg was talking about adding more. He's definitely not adding any money.
You gotta go down with the ship. What do you see here, Key? What do you got for me?
I think that Carlston just his win conditions are such bullshit. Like it's stuff that just does not make sense to me, in my opinion. I think Ponzi is the better process. I know that he's older, and in 2017, for what it's worth, you said in 2017 this line would make sense. In 2017, this wouldn't even be a fight, probably. Like Ponzi would do disgusting things to this man. And I believe however many fights, and I believe like 37 fights, Ponzi's career. I don't think that he's ever been subbed either. So
he hasn't.
Yeah, so God bless on that anaconda choke that Carlson.
It's coming. It'll be here.
So he better hope that he just clubs him with a right hand and Ponzi dies like he did against Kevin Holland. But Ponzi has real process. He really tries. He's a commentator. He watches film. He's a smart guy. So I'm not gonna sit here and just act like Carlson is just gonna run through him. So I think that this is a realistic fight for Ponzi to win. I'm glad that they matched him up like this. I think that they purposely did this, knowing that, I mean, he's tapped in with them as a commentator. They don't want to send him out just going out sad. So I think that smart money was on Ponzi. I'm not interested in watching either of these guys fight, and I'm damn sure not interested in betting on this fight. So God bless Peg. I hope that Carlston pulls a rabbit out of his ass.
We will be here no matter what. Next fight. Mackenzie Dern versus Amanda Ribas. This is our main event. Guys, like, comment, subscribe. It's all we ask. It's not a big ask. It takes 2 seconds. Mackenzie Dern, Amanda Ribas. This is a rematch. Mackenzie Dern, 14-5, 31, 5'4", 63-inch reach on her second divorce. I'm sure it's not going to stop there. Amanda Ribas, 13-5, 31, 5'3", 66-inch reach. Line on these two beautiful women. Ribas is anywhere from minus 180 to minus 215. Mackenzie Dern anywhere from plus 171 to plus 150. Key, we'll have you go first for this girls' fight. I forgot the comments again. Yeah, I think Ponzi's, me and this guy, champ. This is our year, champ. Don't worry. You're on the right side here. What was I going to say? Yeah, Mackenzie Dern looks like shit in the interviews today. She has an emotional support dog, just like Drav. Drav is all upset because Trudeau resigned recently, and Canada is going to be part of America by, I don't know, late next week. So once he's part of the American Brotherhood with the rest of us, welcome, Drav. We'll open arms. We'll see how it goes. But like I said, she's got an emotional support dog. Second divorce, looks like shit. I have Amanda Ribas by decision. I think it hits at a huge clip. I think Amanda Ribas is going to judo toss her, beat the shit out of her, do whatever she wants to her, beat her up on the ground, beat her up on the feet. I just think Ribas is in her right division, right? I think this is the right weight that she's supposed to be at. I think she's 6-1 in this weight class or something along those lines. So this is a perfect spot for her. She's going to beat up Mackenzie Dern. I think Mackenzie Dern has gotten better since the last matchup, but not enough leaps and bounds to make this anything serious or threatening, in my opinion. So yeah, I took Ribas by decision -105. Didn't want to pay -200, but -200 probably still is fair. Key, what do you think?
Yeah, so I feel really just weird vibes from this fight. Ribas is the minute winner. She's a better fighter, the more put together fighter, better process, blah blah blah. But Dern just creates so much fucking chaos, like it's insane. And that's sort of become her identity because she's refused to build her wrestling game, which was pretty much the obvious thing to do as soon as she came into MMA. But instead, she's gotten back with Perillo after the Andrade debacle, where I did back Andrade there. After all of the BS that she had going on in her corner, personal life, she got back with Perillo, had a better showing against Lupi, and I don't think that's a great win because I don't rate Lupi that highly, but it's a win nonetheless. And she's showing fight. I don't think that she's going to have to worry about her chin being touched up here. I don't think that Ribas has elite power. Now the spin kicks and other stuff that Ribas throws, now that could get dangerous, but in terms of just like actual boxing in the pocket, I don't see Dern just going down. She has a decent chin and good recoverability. But Ribas has a really funny chin. I wouldn't be surprised to see Dern just bonk her. And on the mat, I know that Ribas had success the first time, but it's a coin flip, in my opinion, on who has success on the mat here. And so while I think that Ribas is the minute winner and is the better fighter, Dern just has a way of creating chaos and forcing crazy exchanges that I'm going to be clenching my ass cheeks, pause. But I'm going to be clenching my ass cheeks the whole 25 minutes if I'm a Ribas backer. Because Dern can just pull a rabbit out of her ass, it seems, at any time. So here I'm passing on the fight. I do think that Ribas is the side logically, but Dern just has ways of forcing stupid-ass exchanges and fights. So for me, it's a pass, but I do think that Ribas is going to get it done here.
So this is what Ribas looks like right now. And then let's go find, where's that picture of Dern I was just looking at? Drav, you can give your breakdown if you want.
Yeah, so this main event
looks like shit.
You know,
elite capping.
This main event's a battle of the asses, but it's not like because they're a bad fighter. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be exciting to watch nonetheless. But
Trav really put some thought into that. He thought it was gonna be a killer one-liner.
Yeah, I mean, so I think Ribas is just the better. Just to put this quite simple, like it's a rematch. Obviously, Dern's improved since then. Her shape's better and everything, but I just think Ribas is the way better minute winner. And I think over 25 minutes, she's moving a lot and she has more tools on the feet with the kicks. And I don't really think Dern's going to be able to take her down. So with that being said, give me the better minute winner in the girl fights. And the fight I think is going to go probably the distance. And yeah, I like that Ribas saying that, you know, she was kind of moving up, down a weight class, 115, 125. Now she said that she's going to really focus on 115. She said that her future is at strawweight. So I like that she's taking it look like more seriously, that only want to fight to win money and stuff like that. So I like that from her. And you know, Dern's situation looked to be kind of all over the place. Now maybe it's better because she's with her old coach again. But again, like she might pressure and land a big shot or something on Ribas. But at distance, I think Ribas going to piece her up. I think Ribas' jab is, I was kind of impressed going back into tapes and watching her tapes. Like she has an actual jab that she's using a lot with a lot of volume, which is kind of surprising for this level of women MMA. So yeah, and her kicks are much better. The spinning kicks are pretty good. Her takedown defense is great. Dern wrestling offensively is not good. Her judo throw is pretty nice. So she could get on top here potentially. I don't really think Dern's gonna submit her. I guess Dern could potentially rock Ribas, But watching back the first fight, I mean, Ribas was the one rocking Dern all over the place like twice in that fight. So yes, she improved since then, but the fact's still the same that Ribas the better minute winner. She has more tools on the feet, and she's way better at distance, and like her kicks are much better. So I think Ribas around -200 makes sense personally. I play -158 here. I think it was a great price for Ribas here. I think she wins the fight, and yeah, it's gonna be a fun one.
All right. So that's the show, guys. Let's do our BTL parlay and get out of here. All right. I think we cooked up a BTL parlay already. If I were to guess, Key is going to be on Chris Curtis. I'm going to be on who am I going to be on? I'm going to be on Uros Medic, and Drav is going to be on Thiago Moises. Am I right?
Yeah, he's saying that like he's smart, but we already just DM each other about it. So yeah, that's gonna be the BTL parlay, and the odds are plus six or four. Six.
All right. And
All right.
when our parlay is so close to winning, and it's because Chris Curtis loses because he won't throw a punch and get it and make it dirty, we all know who to blame. Key. That's the show.
So I'm locking
the
it
show.
on Medish -220, Moises -180, and Curtis +211 on BetOnline +604.
All right. That's the show, guys. Like, comment, subscribe, follow the BTL parlay. It's the best. It's going to win. It wins every week. If you're not following it, you're losing money. I can't remember the last time it's missed. I'm your host, Picks by Pegasus. I got a Telegram, Twitter. Everything's free, as always will be. It's 2025 is supposed to be my year, allegedly, so we'll see what happens. Something tells me that we're going to win every bet this card. We only have 2 of them, and it's Harris and Dern by decision. We will get on Uros Medic at some point. Don't know when that's going to happen. We'll figure that out when the odds come in. Like Drob said, all month his cards, his dub club is free. Go to his bio, click his dub club. You'll have it. That means you're getting UFC Vegas 101. You're getting UFC 311.
Actually, Peg, because my free link for the dub club has expired now. So all the guys that got in already, they are having my free bets. But if you didn't get in the dub club the last week that I opened it, just DM me on Twitter and I'll just open it for you. Because it is only for January and I opened it as a free month. So the free month already started a couple days ago, and I have bets. I have bets already for UFC 311. I have 3 bets, and I have a bet for UFC Saudi Arabia already locked in. So you can DM me on Twitter. I'll give everything for free in January because I feel good. I feel great. 2025, and then we go back on our winning way like we did in 2024. We ended the year with a bang, and we're gonna start it with a bang. So, Key, what you got?
Yep, and you gotta DM a picture of you being subscribed to the channel. Key, what do you got going on?
Yeah, we finished out last year, damn near plus 80 units in the premium at my dub club and Discord. $20 a month. You can hit me up, DM me, just DM me BTL. Let me know that you watched the pod. I'll hook you up with a special code to get in. We got prize picks, underdog fantasy book bets. I just dropped 2 bets for UFC Saudi Arabia. I have already stuff for UFC 311. Like we're cooking. So this is going to be a big time year. It's best to get in right now.
All right. That's the show, guys. Thanks for joining us. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Peace.